Welcome to the Digital Moneta channel. Today we're going to take another look at how to short cryptocurrencies using CryptoHopper on the Binance exchange. But first of all, I think it's important that we kind of go over traditional short selling versus how CryptoHopper actually handles a short sell. Traditional short selling would entail the sale of a security that is not owned by the seller or that the seller has borrowed. Short selling is motivated by the belief that a security's price will decline, enabling it to be bought back at a lower price to make a profit. So let's kind of take a look at an example. Let's say you believe that EOS will decline in price. You therefore borrow 100 tokens and sell them. You are now short 100 tokens of EOS since you have sold something that you did not own in the first place. The short sale was only made possible by borrowing the tokens, which the owner may demand back at some point. And then a few hours later, EOS falls in value and you decide to close the short position and buy 100 tokens on the open market to replace the borrowed tokens. Your profit on that short sale, excluding commissions, is the difference between the sell price and the buy price. So for example, if you took a look at the EOS chart and maybe you saw a double top coming in here and you decided that's going to be resistance and therefore I believe EOS will go down. And so you put in a sell order for 100 tokens of EOS, anticipating that it will go down. Now you don't own 100 tokens of EOS, so you actually have to borrow it, and exchanges like Bitfinex, PolNX, they allow you to borrow on margin, and so you will borrow those 100 tokens, and then as the price goes down, you look for an entry price back in, hopefully the bottom, to buy those 100 tokens so you can replace the borrowed tokens. And in this situation, you would have put a sell order for the 100 tokens you borrowed at 90.50, and let's say you put the buy order in over in this area at 85.50. If that was the case, your profit would be the 85.50 minus the 90.50, so approximately 500 would be your profit on that particular move. Now, the way CryptoHopper actually works is you actually have to own the 100 tokens in order to place this sell order. Once you place that sell order, it will actually track the token, whether it be down or up, and in order to exit your short position, you would put on a buy. And again, hopefully you put your buy on after it has declined rather than increased. If you put your buy order on once it has increased, then you would have sold at a lower price than you bought in at. So you would actually realize a loss. So let's jump over to our actual hopper. We actually aren't going to just talk about it. We'll show you how we actually execute some of these trades. Now in the past, before we really got the configuration dialed in, we were manually closing out our short positions when we would get in a short position. Now the way we get into a short position on CryptoHopper is via our strategy, and we'll go over those configurations here in a moment. Our strategy would actually trigger a short sell of a token that we already owned. For instance, in this case we had 399 tokens of IOTA. It was going up, and a sell order or a short was put on once it met our strategy requirements. Now, once we felt like we had met our profit point, which usually is about 1% to 1.25, by the time this actually closed on our manual close, it ended up being shy of 1%. Once we put that order on, we were closed out to realize a profit between the 177 that hit the token had already gone up. This was actually a plus 177 plus the 0.77, and it ended up being approximately this 2.56% once we put the buy order on. So we then end up with IOTA back as a normal holding position of these 399 tokens, and then we eventually closed this out a couple minutes later as the market looked like it was going to go back down, so we manually closed it. Now we have since fine-tuned our settings within our configuration, and so now it's actually doing it via the automated bot. We don't actually have to do it. So ELF is an example of one that actually went through the process without our involvement whatsoever. So if we look back at the date that we actually purchased ELF, we purchased ELF back on October 3rd via our strategy. We bought 642 tokens, and so we put a buy on. And over time, ELF worked its way up and had become overbought and therefore triggered a short of the actual position of those 642 tokens. Now, ELF was actually only up 1.21% at that time, but had hit our Bollinger Band and overbought strategy, and therefore triggered a short. So once the short was put on October 6th, now we bought it October 3rd, 3 days later a short comes into play, and then a day later on October 7th, this actually achieves our 1.25% profit that we want, and so therefore the bot closes out our short by placing a buy order. And so now when you combine the 121 and the 125, and what probably actually happened is we bought in probably a little lower than this percentage profit, and so therefore we end up with a 2.48% gain. And then about 10 minutes later, this starts to retrace, and because we have a trailing stop loss in place and we don't want it to go below a certain point, it actually put on a sell, and we got out of the position with a 2.4% overall gain. So half of this percent gain was from a short, and half of this percent of gain was basically from a long position. Combined, these two produced this profit. So that is an actual live trade of how short feature of CryptoHopper actually did function and actually get us a profit. And so if we go ahead and take a look at the ELF chart on TradingView to see how this actually played out rather than just a trading history, we can see back here on October 6th, the market hits our Bollinger Bands and it hits our overbought signal for ELF, at which point the short is put on. And so it travels down, and we're looking for a 1.25% profit before we close out. And technically it looks like we should have got out here, but in trading you don't always get out on these long candles. Sometimes that's just a single trade and you didn't have your sell on, so it didn't get you out. We actually end up getting out over here on this dip where we hit our 1.25 and we place a buy. So here triggered a sell on the tokens that we already owned, and then triggered a buy there, and we realize our profit. And so now we'll jump back over to CryptoHopper and look at those configurations. And so from the base configuration tab, you want to go to your shorting settings. And what we have currently running is we do not have reset position after closed short or restore position after short. We actually have automatic shorting enabled. And maximum short positions, we just have set at 4. We've actually never had more than 2 ever go at the same time. So 4 out of our 15 coins that were allowed on this bunny account is what we're going with there. The open short based on strategy, the close short based on strategy is not how we actually close it. We're going to close our position based on a percentage of profit, and more so with a trailing stop short. So what we've done is enabled the trailing stop short. We want it to arm when it hits 1.25%, and we wanted to go ahead and follow that down, and once it retraces 0.25%, go ahead and close out that position and place a buy order. And then the rest of these settings we don't actually enable, and so far with these settings we've actually been able to get the CryptoHopper bot to go ahead and actually successfully execute the short selling without actually having to manually do any of the process whatsoever. Now, as far as our strategy and what actually triggers our short sells is under the strategy tab, under advanced. And so we're doing 30-minute candles. We're requiring both RSI and Bollinger Bands to be met, and the overbought threshold of 90 is what will trigger a short for our bot, including Bollinger Bands with deviations of 2 on this particular bot. And I think that will pretty much wrap it up. We just wanted to jump on here, give everybody an update. We had done a short video a while back, but we were actually having to do the manually closing out. Now we're actually getting it to be fully automated, and we're seeing some success with it. And I hope this helps you all understand how CryptoHopper shorting is actually a little different than the traditional shorting. And if you liked the video, do us a favor and spike us a like. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. It helps our channel grow. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. We try to respond to everybody. And until next time, lock in those profits, and we'll see you in the next video.